Day 5 of the coronavirus quarantine. I've been reading more that might potentially help us, might potentially help somebody out there. So I'm going to read it and talk about it because somebody might want to hear about it. Back with Carl Jung, one of the last books he wrote before he died. So it's kind of a culmination of the knowledge of his life. It's a massive book. But he's talking about, get this quote, stay with me. Well, first of all, he's talking about how, you ever sat around and wondered, like, all the mental problems we have, all the psychological issues we have today, and then the political turmoil, the craziness of the world around us, we don't, and then we look at the world and we don't even really understand, like, what the heck's going on there. You don't understand your political opponents. We can't agree. We can't come to terms to agreement. It's like we're lost. And it's like we're lost without a map, and we don't, or if we do have a map, we don't know how to read it. And Jung would say, you're going around pointing the finger and you need to look inward. But get this, he says, one knows in advance that it is not worth the trouble to know oneself, for any fool can know what he is. We believe exclusively, we the West, like Westerners, America, we believe exclusively in doing and do not ask about the doer, who is judged only by his achievements that have collective value. The general public seems to have taken cognizance of the existence of the unconscious psyche more than the so-called experts, but still nobody has drawn any conclusions from the fact that Western man confronts himself as a stranger, and that self-knowledge is one of the most difficult and exacting of the arts. Self-knowledge. He's talking about how meditation, looking inward, it's not popular in the West, and we pride ourselves so much on what external values are you providing in the world, because that is important, and we never stop to think about the person doing the providing, which is you. How healthy are you? How much do you know yourself? I love this quote. I think it's from one of Jung's students named James Hillman. Your autonomy is a fiction, meaning you think you're an individualized one whole person, but you're not. That's a fiction, and I know you're not, and I know I'm not, because we do things that we don't want to do, or we do things we don't mean to do. And if we really were just a one unified being, right, a disciplined being that could control every aspect of ourselves, we would stop doing those things. You would stop doing the things that you wish you didn't do, but you continue to do them because there's a part of you that you can't control. And I would argue there's multiple parts of you that you can't control. But he's talking about how we pride ourselves so much on action, and we never stop to think about the person doing the action. How healthy are they? How much do you know that person? And we constantly go through our world as Westerners, treating ourselves as strangers. Now he comes over here in another part of the book and he says, nobody can know himself and differentiate himself from his neighbor if he has a distorted picture of him. Just as no one can understand his neighbor if he has no relationship to himself. The one conditions the other, and the two processes go hand in hand. Literally meaning, like, you're not going to understand anybody out there. Neighbor could mean anything. It could mean your wife, it could mean your husband, it could mean your best friend, your sister, your brother. You're not going to understand them at all when you don't understand yourself. So that's more a message, I think, to people my age, the millennials, Gen Z, whatever. I mean, wherever you find yourself, people my age and younger, you walk around with your political ideologies thinking you're going to save the world and you're going to change it, and you have no idea about the complexities of who you are. You don't even understand yourself. You still do things you wish you didn't do. You still have horrible relationships with family members. You're still running from your father. You're still jaded because you never got your father's acceptance fully. You know, things like that, things that you haven't healed, scars you haven't healed, and you think you have the answers for how to run this country? Come on. Please, try again. Look inward. That's what Jung would say. So in this time of turmoil, in this time of craziness, we're looking around and maybe there's some people you don't understand. Maybe you're like, God, I can't even comprehend how someone would believe that, someone would follow that person, someone would vote for that person. Well, look inward, man. If you're confused, it's because there's something you're missing internally. And for you to understand the people around you, if you really want to be empathetic, right? We pride ourselves on empathy, which isn't always the best answer, but that's a whole nother video. If you really want to be empathetic and help other people, you have to understand them. You have to understand how to help them. You can't do that without understanding yourself. So I know it's scary, and Jung would say that. It's scary in there, inward, on the inward journey to look inward. There's some things that you've been running from. There's some things you've been hiding. There's some grievances you've been hanging on to. There's some people you need to forgive. There's some memories you need to write down and relive because you just have been running from them. There's some scars you need to heal. But that's the first step. If you want to change the world, you want to help someone, even if you don't want to change the world, you just want to help people around you, you want to help your community or your family, you got to start inward. Okay. I don't know if any of that made sense. Goodbye.